So today we have to start with the entrepreneurship development. Actually, we finished with the one of the activity last time. I think you guys completed with that, right? You better complete with that and incorporate with your business proposal, right? If you have any question, just WhatsApp me personally, then I will guide accordingly with related to the, what is the element, the identifying the customer section. So today we are going to look into the entrepreneurship development related business models. That means once you are going to start a business, don't think in your own way, right? You may come up with your business ideas. That is the first thing. After that, once you get the business idea, or the business idea එකක් ආවට පස්සේ, you better look into the available business models, how to implement your business. So implementation part, you should do it very carefully, right? Very carefully. Otherwise, you will not achieve whatever the objective of businesses. You basically, it is not a charity, no, it is not charity. So you always focus about the profit. So once you focus about the profit, you can't just blindly assign the price for your product and get money, because market is competitive. Once you increase your product price, the competitors or customers may move with your competitors. For example, if you are making a cake business, so if your 1 kilo cake is normal price is 100 and you want to have a profit and you make it 110, then customers in general go and buy the 1 kilo of cake for 100, right? So always you are catering the requirement of customers, either as a product or as a service. You cater the requirement of the customers. So always with that mindset, try to give best price for the customer, whereas your profit margins are also preserved. You also need to have some profit. So assure that you will get the profit, at the same time give the best price for the customers. To do those things, actually to formally initiate your businesses, you should have some understand how to organize. Actually, majority, actually they just follow these because they no need to start from the beginning, right? Start from the beginning. There are some well recognized available models, then adapt those and start thinking based on that. Brainstorming sessions, discussions, your business plans, whatever the stuff based on the model. So we are going to discuss some models today. So in your business plan, you may incorporate these appropriately, right? Yeah. First model is a plan or diagram, right? Model is that just whatever the sketch that is used to make or describe something, right? So there is a model. Based on that, you are making like ගඩොල්ලච්චුව තියෙනනේ ඒකත් නිකන් මොඩල් එකක් වගේනේ. So cookies achchu, something like that. Model, it is a model. Then otherwise you have the model for what? Simple terms. Describing something, what is the model? I would say even what is the OSI structure? OSI 7-layer structure, right? For introducing a network device, it is describing something. So those are the models. Anything else that come to your mind?
OSI 7-layer, OSI TCP/IP model, what
Yeah. Yeah.
development method, waterfall model.
That's right. That's right. At once I didn't come up. Yes. Software development life cycle related many models are there. So
Uh,
those are describing something. So the making mean we are using that particular model to make something. So like Achu Katandare, or even for making. Yeah, actually in this case, it is mainly focused on the plan node diagram. So that model is not related, right? Okay, such that thing is not related. Sorry about that. I just confused with the model, pure model, right? Because models are introduced to build something. Achuak Tyagana model single meaning is that. So with that, I just little confused, but it is just say used to make or describe something. That means even in that sense, make is what do you think? Describing something, whatever the models we discuss, the TCP/IP or software development life cycle related models are okay. So to make something, even that thing also adapted. No, software development life cycle is focusing to develop a software, that is to develop or to make something, right? Software development life cycle waterfall method. That is to how you are going to develop or how you are going to make something. TCP/IP model describe the device. So two examples to understand the model, right? The other stuff I mentioned also a model, but here the focus is not that moving towards the business model, because business models are in the paper now. So here the model is focused something on the paper. That is the purpose, right? So let's move forward with the business model then. Broad sense, you got idea. That means there is a model to develop life cycle. It is one example. Sorry, model to develop softwares. We call it as software development life cycle related models. Then describe something, TCP/IP or OSI model, describing the whatever the uh, end devices or network devices. So with that understand, we will move with the business model. Firm's business model is its plan or diagram. That is the important one. It should be a plan or diagram for how it is. Give me a second, right? Sorry. Anyway, business model. So it is about the whatever the business or firm is representing the particular institute which is doing the business. Uh, so their business initiatives are illustrated in a paper, like a plan or diagram, how it competes, use its resources. Competes mean the if I'm making a cake, there are many manufacturers who are making cakes. So there are competitors. When I put my cake into the market, that competition is there. If I'm developing the softwares, web applications, there are many more competitors who are developing web applications. Put those into the market, maybe challenge. Now, actually, with the Facebook initiatives, even people are not making the website themselves. Then uses its resources. That means whatever the firm's resources should be utilized, should not be isolated. So for that, there should be a plan. There should be a plan to utilize almost all the resources. Otherwise, uh, actual outcome will not be there. Hope you can understand that part, right? That means if something is isolated, for example, there are two machines, or let's say two computers, uh, two server computers. One is utilized, other one is not used, because once it is sitting on the server, no one have understand what is inside the server. Network administrator, because of their convenience, they just maintain one physical server. All requests come to that, something like that. So if we plan properly in the paper and ask network administrator to execute the plan, that thing will not be happen. They structures its relationship, whatever the relationship that business should be maintained. One example is even organization is structure or relationship with the customer, relationship with the supplier. There are many more relationship. Actually, some at once we will not get into our mind. So we don't know what is happening. What is happening in the business, we don't know what is happening in long run, but we should plan accordingly at the very beginning based on some models. So interfaces with the customers, that means how to deal with the customer and create the values to the sustain itself. Always customers focus on the values, right? Always customer focus on the values that they earn through that. As a manufacturer, as a firm, we also try to address that to give some value for the customers. In that case, if we just consider the web application development, producing the web application development and deliver, anyone can do. Anyone can do. There are many more small scale businesses to do that part. There are some online platform as well to do that part. But if you can introduce a business model to do the same thing, but after sales services are also there. Maybe hosting facilities there. Maybe 24/7 service is there, right? Some guidance to host their website workshops are there. Additional values into your web application development business. With that, you will be able to grab much more customers because your business mainly grow upon others' recommendation. It is actually very much a strong thing. You can do the expensive advertising, but effective way, just affordable way through recommendation of the existing customer, potential customers will be attracted. So to do that, strengthen your business, additional values, be unique in the way that you deliver the business, right? So once you engage with the business full time, you can do that. So plan the business accordingly, right? On the basis of the profits it generates. So eventually you will generate some profits based on your initiatives in these aspects. If you have failed to address one of these aspects effectively, eventually you will not get the expected profit. You can say that I am having profit, I run my business properly, but you can earn more and more profit if you streamline your business model with present activities. What are the business activities? If you can just match and address, it is possible, right? So the terms business model is used to include all activities that define how firms compete in the marketplace. So there is a one single place where all the activities are incorporated, which is the business model. So diversity of the business model. So because there is no standard business model, that means we cannot say this is the way to develop a web application development business. There is no such thing. This is the way to make a cake or doing a cake business. There is no predefined way. There are menus to develop the cake. There are, like we previously discussed, there are approaches to develop the software development lifecycle related approaches. But incorporating those into the business and delivering it for adding value for the customer is very much unique. It is very much unique, right? There are always opportunities for business model innovation. Sorry, first point, there are some more. There is a standard business model for industry or for target market within an industry, right? That means whatever your business model is for particular target market. When we say we are manufacturing cake, I'm not going to sell it over the country. I may focus maybe some particular area. If I develop the software development, so web-based solution for the customers, even I can go such initiative over the country, over the countries as well, multiple countries as well, because I can introduce that service over the web. However, you should finalize what would be the scope of your business and finalize your business model. So as there is no specific model, or there is only some abstract viewpoints, I would say abstract viewpoints regarding the business models, you can come up with your own business model, adapting necessary stuff into your business. Right? Any question? Let's move forward. Yeah, this how business models emerge. The value chain propositions is the important aspect. So let's go through the points here. Value chain is the string of activities that moves product from the raw material stage through the manufacturer, distributor, ultimately to ultimate to the end users. So I just keep two examples in the cake industry and the software industry, because these examples can well explain with the cakes, because cakes are made by eggs, as that means there are raw material, pure raw materials, visible raw materials are there. Eggs, sugar, flour, what else? Other thing? Sugar, flour, egg, one more thing. Astronaut. Yeah, four ingredients. Mainly there are few flavors and things like that. Those are the raw materials. So if we are going to make getting into the cake industry, I should have better supply for eggs for better price. I'm not going to go and buy the eggs from the nearby shop. Right? You can understand that part, right? I may communicate with the wholesaler. I will ask to supply the eggs weekly basis, this much number of eggs. Then extra or whatever the extra alternatives, I just communicate with the manufacturer and ask to supply weekly manner this quantity. Sugar also same way. Likewise, if once it becomes a business, we should not deal with the market in the typical individuals initiatives in with similar to the individuals initiatives. I don't know, many cases now people are struggling and they buy the stuff for daily basis maybe. But as the government servant, fortunately, we get the salary at the end of the month. So we go and buy the stuff for entire month. So that is the practice. So that will not be applicable for the businesses. That's what I want to emphasize. So this value chain, that means with that you will get the best price, relatively best price. Then you can keep it as a profit, or you can deliver part of that to your customers if you plan it properly. There are many businesses, they are not thinking too much on those aspects, but it is essential to do such initiatives, right? In software industry, how it applies, raw materials, things like that, or network industry.
Switches, routers,
It'll,
I believe.
yeah, in that case, networking case, raw material might be the routers, switches, things like that to introduce the network. In the software industry, raw material mainly in addition to the computers and things like that, human involvement, no, manpower, I would say, but be specific and think on that. Then once you finalize with the raw material, then you start the processing that. If it is cake, making cake. If it is software, continue with the software development life cycle. Then distribution. For distributing the cake, we may communicate with the any logistics and deliver it over the country, or we just go and put it in the nearby shops to sell them. Different ways. Anyway, there should be different or unique distribution channel for your business. In the software industry, we may just usually distribution happen if we are developing the product based solutions, because then only we have to sell that product. Maybe templates, web templates are selling, but if it is a project based thing, we no need to distribute, we just want to deliver the software solution. We want to just deliver the software solution. Even network solution, we want to deliver this network solution for the unique customer. So there are some adaptation of these specific terms in the different industries. Once you get thorough understand, you can do that. Ultimately, to the end users, that is also important. We cannot forget, once we consider that value chain aspects, we cannot forget the end users, because we are doing everything for the end users. We can get the customers, we can do advertising, and we can do whatever the promotion campaign and get the customer, but it is very much challenging to keep the customers with us. Keep the customers with us in any industry, software industry, whatever, cake industry, any. So special focus on the customers, right? By studying the products or services value chain, an organization can identify ways to create the additional value and assess whether it has means to do so. Yeah, always focusing about creating the value, assess whether it has mean to do so. That means we should do something meaningful. We should not do things due to gut feeling. අපිට හිතුණා කියලා කරන්න නරකයි. So think about your business plan. Is that the outcome of your gut feeling? Is that outcome of your interest? Or have you ever think about your customers? Have you ever think about your customer? Right? I'm repeating it. Have you ever think about your customer? Your customer domain should be very much strong, very much unique, right? Based on that, you focus about your business plan, right? So that is very important. Very unique customer domain, set of customers should be with you. So finally, the third point, the value chain analysis is also helpful in identifying opportunities for new businesses. Value chain analysis is also helpful in identify opportunities. That is the that I mentioned that there are some areas that we didn't recognize. That means we have very narrow scope, no? Anyway, everyone has narrow scope. Even Dhammika Pereira also, he is thinking in his context, no? But he is moving towards the new section. Definitely, he also refer these models, because once we refer these models, we may not miss specific items, right? Models are referring on that purpose. Once we refer the models, we may not miss out any specific aspects, right? Some gray areas, you would say, when we get into the business, there are some gray areas. There are some things that we cannot understand, right? If you are getting into the export business, right, it is very much unique field, international business, right? You are dealing with the currency. So exchange rate is influence on your product and services. prices, right? I think you have never think about such thing. Even I didn't until recent time when the currency is moving in, differently. Impact is very much significant. There are true stories. Even currency is appreciating. Appreciating mean for $1 we have to pay 100 rupees. At the moment, $1 is 200. No, early days, $1 is 150, 160, around that range, right? Then once rupee is appreciated, and if it becomes the $1 is 100 rupees, you know, you may not believe the company's apparel industry people usually take steps to depreciate the current Sri Lankan rupee because they will be penalized. They will be penalized with apparel exports once currency is appreciated. The reason is then once they sell their product in the America, they may earn 100, let's say $10. They earn $10. They bring that $10 here and they change it. It becomes 1,000 if rupee is appreciated to $1 into 100. But if Sri Lankan currency $1 is 200, once they make a sales of $10 in America, they brings that one to Sri Lanka as how much? 2,000. Double the money, right? Depending on the currency, they will get much more money. Then for export market, currency depreciation is advantageous for them in some aspect. When we consider about the material that they want to import or something, there are some disadvantage as well. I just focus about the selling something there and bringing that money to Sri Lanka, right? So those are the uniqueness of different businesses. So once we looked into the different models, we can overcome much more issues because we are following the well accepted models. So it comprises with the almost all the aspect that we should focus, right? So finally, with that one, this value chain analysis help us to evaluate or come up with the different thoughts or understanding about the new business opportunities, what we can do with that. Even some export businesses, instead of they may exporting stuff, they may import some other stuff also. Instead of bringing those currency, they sell something in their country, get that money and buy something from that country and import that one also. Right? There are different approaches to build the businesses. So those are not in our, that means we are not into import and export. That's why I just pick that one and share it with you for as example for the gray areas that we cannot realize. Typically Chinese people are exporting things to the Australia, then they are not returning that money to China back. They are buying houses and things in the Australia. Now actually I was in Adelaide even majority is Chinese. I would say more than 50% is Chinese. Even that Nagaradhipati is also Chinese in 2016, right? So that is their business model. They are just dealing very carefully with their currencies. They may partly bring that back to country as well for some other purposes, but majority they invest in the Australia itself to build themselves or establish in that country. Okay, so some example for you to think a little bit more on the entrepreneurial mindset. Instead just doing the business, right? Always accept the risk. If you can accept the risk, විදසුන් කාන්න විදසුන් 26 කිවන those who little young they can accept the risk and do the business, right? You have long time to go with some just after graduation. I'm going to continue with that story anyway. Others just after graduating can accept the risk and do something with related to the your domain related business, right? Okay, this one is the very important value chain model. So specific components, primary activities. There are 5 primary activities. Can someone explain? Inbound logistic. What is the inbound logistic? In simple term, input to the business. Input to the cake business එකයි නම් අර කියපු ಜಾති හතර බිත්තරයි ඇස්ට්‍රයි සීනි මොකක්ද ඒක මිසන් ෆ්ලා පිටි ඔය ටික දානවා. ඊට පස්සේ කේක් එක හදනවා operation. Outbound logistics, that mean actually inbound logistics mean the even who are going to supply those material, egg supplier, sugar supplier, like that, then operate, manufacture the cake. Outbound logistics, once we make the cake, how we are going to deliver it to the market, then how we are going to marketing that, how we are going to sell that, then different services, right? Different services in the sense after sale services to keep the customer with you. Otherwise customer may move with the another sale. So these are the primary activity. With that small example you can understand. We will go get into the YouTube video for better understanding. At first you understand the primary activities, that cake example. Then supportive activities. These are the supporting. All these are, as diagram illustrate, resource procurement is related with the inbound, operation, outbound, marketing and service. එකයි මේ අතර දාලා තියෙන ඔක්කොටම common විදිහට දාලා තියෙන එක. It is related to the inbound, that means resource procurement of inbound logistics, resource procurement of operation, resource procurement of outbound logistics, resource procurement of marketing and sales, resource procurement of services. What it mean by actual resource procurement mean? In one of the primary activities, let's say resource procurement of inbound logistics. Procurement mean what? අර quotation එහෙම ගෙනල්ලා quotation evaluate කරලා අදාළ දේ කරගන්නේ. අදාළ resource ටික acquire කරගන්නේ. I will say about the inbound logistics. That means if you want egg, you talk with the multiple egg suppliers and call the quotation and ask to supply this number of eggs within for every week. Then evaluating the quotation, just pick one customer and continue the process. Right? Under the operations, how procurement happen? Resource procurement, maybe machineries. Machineries may be purchased, ovens, multiple ovens are purchased. If it is IT industry, software industry, professionals interview people and offer them salaries. They also little bit mindful when offering the remuneration or salaries. They just think 50,000, 55,000. Interview people at the same time. All are same qualified, but different offers. It is something related to the procurement in the software industry. Even machines they can procure. Call the quotation and do that. Likewise, you can think about the procurement, resources related procurement, all 5 aspects. මේ aspect පහටම කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Technology development, in all the 5 aspects, all the 5 primary aspects. Resource, human resource management, all the 5 aspects, all the 5 aspects. Firm infrastructure, whatever the building, maybe daily transport, loop buses, loop vans, right? Governmental maybe different firm structures can be applicable depending on the different businesses. It is also applicable in the all these primary activities plus even this supporting activity also firm infrastructure is applicable, right? So when you plan for the price, for example, the cake kilo is 100 rupees for the customer. 100 rupees for the customer. That means this entire block, including that margin, margin means profit margin. Including that profit margin, this entire thing is 100 rupees. 1 kilo representation is 100 rupees. Then for primary activities and support activities, the cost for the 1 kilo, for the primary activities and supporting activities, actually there is a price for 1 kilo cake. You can make maybe 500 kilo and estimate that back for 1 kilo. Then that might be 80 rupees. Let's say 80 rupees. That means for the logistic 90, even 90, it's okay, no? Whatever the suppliers, distributors, right? Marketing campaign, after sales services, right? Maybe 80. Maybe in adapting technology, there is a fixed cost, but those are applicable or those are applied with the 1 kilo cake as well. Then that 20 or 10 rupee balance is the margin. Entire cost for the business process until customer come and pay for the cake and buy is 90 rupees, including the margin for the shop. Shop එකටත් ගානක් තියෙන්න බෑ. අපි ඒ කියන්නේ කඩේට දාන්නේ 85ට, කඩෙන් විකුණන්නේ 90ට. ලේබල් එක ගහලා තියෙන්නේ 90යි. sorry. වැරදුනා. ලේබල් එක ගහලා තියෙන්නේ 100යි කියලා. කේක් එකේ ලේබල් එක ගහලා තියෙන්නේ 100යි කියලා. අපිට මේ ඔක්කොටම යනවා 90ක්. සප්ලයර්ස් ලට දෙන්නයි ඔක්කොටම යනවා 90ක්. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි කඩේට දාන්නේ 95ට කියලා හිතන්න. කඩේට කේක් එක දාන්නේ 95ට. පහක් ෂොප් එකේ එක්කෙනාට. ඒ පහ හැබැයි අර 90 ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. අපි 90ක් නේ අයින් කරන්නේ මේ outbound logistic එක ඇතුලේ ඒ පහ තියෙනවා. 90 ඉඳන් 95 වෙනකම් පහ කඩේට දාන්නේ 95ට කිව්ව පහ. sorry කඩේට දාන්නේ 95ට නම් කඩේ මිනිස්සු විකුණන්නේ 100ට නම් ඒ මිනිස්සුන්ට පහක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වැඩිපුර තියෙන පහත් අර 90 ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා මේ ටිකේ තියෙනවා. right? so ඇත්තටම cost එක ගිහිලා තියෙන්නේ එතකොට 85යි. 85යි I would say cost එක 85යි, කඩේට 5යි 90යි, ඉතුරු 10 එක 100යි. එහෙම තමයි හැදෙන්නේ. cost එක 85යි, කඩේට 5යි 90යි, අපේ margin එක වෙනවා එතකොට 100යි. අපි label කරන්නේ cake එක 100ට. අන්නේ basis එක මත incorporating both direct cost through the primary activities and indirect cost through the supporting activity. Finally, the margin is up to us. At this stage, maybe this example 10 rupees, but considering the competitive market environment, we may reduce the 100 rupee cake into 95, maybe 94, 93, worst case 91. Further worse, we can sell it to 90 without having any profit. But it is not recommended, never recommended, because then it becomes not the business, no? But in some cases, if we want to survive in the market with the competitors, by utilizing the savings in our business, I may sell the cake even for 90 rupees to challenge the competitors. Don't know. Different business strategies are there. Sometimes we make the cake, entire cost is 90, we are selling it 85 with the loss. even that also can be acceptable. Very unique cases, right? Very unique cases if you want to address the market need. Address the market need. So we cannot say how it is happening. Business world is little bit crucial. I never recommend you to share things less than the cost. Never recommend. But I just come up with the example in theoretical way for you to understand the different strategies, right? So I think we better look into the that video with related to the value chain. It is very much interesting.
The value chain was introduced by Michael S. Porter in 1985 in the book Competitive Advantage. Value chain is used to analyze the flow of value-adding activities from the raw material supplier to the end customer. The model looks at what value the company adds to each link and thereby uncovers the company's competitiveness. The value chain consists of 9 value activities that together create added value and thereby the company's margin. Margin, in many places also called profit, is actually the value chain's 10th field. Here there is no activity. The field size is dependent on the previous 9 fields. The profit is equal to the difference between the value chain's total value, which is the value of the product to the customer, that is the price he is willing to pay for the product, and the total cost of producing the product.
You have that idea, right? Value for the customer is the 100 rupee cake. Then total cost for the production is 90 rupees. Maybe production 85 rupees, 5 rupees for the shop or logistic, outbound logistic. Altogether 90 for the cost of production, entire stuff. Then you will get profit or margin as 10 rupees, right? It is little simple to explain with the cake example. Let's think about the software industry or your industry related example later.
Which is the total of the costs that are in the value chain's 9 activities. The 9 activities are divided into 2 categories. The first is primary activities. These activities include the main activities. All 5 activities are directly involved in the production and selling of the actual product. The second category is support activities. They go across the major activities and aim to coordinate their functions as best as possible with each other. The primary activities consist of the 5 activities at the bottom of the model. These are inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and service. Each of these activities may be described as follows. Inbound logistics can consist of receiving goods, inspection, storage, receiving returned goods, etc. Operations include activities associated with transforming raw materials and components into new products.
Hope you got the idea, right? Inbound logistic and operations. Focus on the example also, right?
Outbound logistics are activities associated with order processing, packaging, shipping, everything which deals with the distribution of the finished product to buyers. Marketing and sales are activities associated with providing the customer with information about the product's excellence, which should lead to a sale. Marketing and sales are involved in determining the product's distribution channel, pricing, promotion, personal selling, etc. Service. Activities which ensure that the purchased product enhances or preserves value for the customer. The service could include advice, in person or online, repairs, customer training, ongoing maintenance, and so on.
Have you ever had to convince
These were the 5 primary activities. We shall now...
Any question about the primary activities? Did you get the understand completely with more example? The service section, actually even training for the internal staff are counted. Training for the internal staff or workshops or repairs. Anything. Because everything that is happening within the industry should be accompanied with this value chain. That means finalizing the price for the product. Any question? Good, now 30 students are there.
No, sir.
No, no? Okay, thank you.
Review support activities. Support activities consist of 4 activities, and they are in the upper part of the model. They consist of procurement, technology development, human resource management, and firm infrastructure. Each of these activities may be described as follows. Support activities, procurement, are activities that refer to the function of purchasing, not the physical input. Procurement supports all the primary activities. It may include the establishment of procurement routines for the purchase of raw materials for inbound logistics. In addition, there must also be negotiations about purchasing of energy and service to the machines in operations. Buying new cars for delivery of goods as part of outbound logistics. There must be a procedure within marketing and sales for the purchase of advertising materials. New cars for service technicians represent service in the model. Effective procurement routines can greatly influence purchase costs and thereby contribute to higher profits. The support activity technology development must be understood broadly. It is the overall systems that provide an overview of the entire organization. The sales department have the opportunity to see whether the products the customer demand are out of stock, how far they are advanced in production, and when they can be accurately delivered. It may involve ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, systems that bind the entire organization's information together. Support activity human resources management includes recruitment, training, retention, motivation of the firm's staff. Many times it is the HR's department's responsibility that the right skills are available at the right time in various departments. A simple example is that before marketing and sales contact the first potential customer in Japan, HR department helps with hiring a person who understands the Japanese language and their culture. Support activity firm infrastructure is a kind of superstructure or umbrella which covers all the other activities. It supports both the primary activities and support activities. It includes the organization of the company, management, planning, quality management, finance, etc.
When there's a world of options at my fingertips, there are no limits to create a story for every home.
Now we shall consider how you can use the model in practice. If the manufacturer of a product is going to make a profit and survive, the total value of the product for the customer has to be greater than the cost of creating the product. Therefore, you should regularly review the 9 activities and analyze if the individual activities carried out provide more value to the customer than the costs they accumulate. If you find areas or points where you cannot answer yes, then you should modify or discontinue these activities. You thereby continuously improve your company's competitiveness. Now we shall review an example of the use of the value chain with a manufacturer of blades for wind turbines. For simplicity, we will first review the primary activities. A manufacturer receives inbound logistics raw materials to be included in the blade later. The raw materials shall hereafter be part of the primary activity operations, in which the blade will be produced. When the finished turbine blade is transported by truck, it is part of the primary activity outbound logistics. It is probably due to quality, durability, etc., that we have convinced the buyer about the value of our blades. This is part of the primary activity marketing and sales. The maintenance of the blade is part of the primary activity service. Support activities support the primary activities throughout the process. Support activity procurement has probably been helpful in preparing contracts for the purchase of raw materials in primary activity inbound logistics. Agreement with the trucking company on transportation of the blade in primary activity outbound logistics, as well as established procedures for purchase of flights and hotels to maintenance staff in primary activity service. Support activity technology development has probably been helpful by calculating the need for raw materials in the blade in operations. Plans for when the individual blades are delivered in outbound logistics, and when the surface has to be maintained in service. Technology development supports them. Support activity human resources have hopefully had a share in all other activities placed below them. A simple example would be the blades that are delivered offshore. Here they must make sure that the people have the right training in relation to the rules of working at sea. Support activity firm infrastructure is, as said before, an umbrella over all other activities. It supports the other 8 activities. If the blade manufacturer is to remain in the market, all 9 activities must be analysed on an ongoing basis. It must be determined whether the activities provide more value to the customer than it costs to implement them. Customers' priorities may well change over time. There may be new technologies which increase productivity in the chain. Therefore, there should be continuous evaluation which should seek to make improvements in all activities. Finally, let us consider a critique of the model. The model was created on the basis of the 1980s major American companies that produced to stock. Today, many large companies are manufacturing to order. It may be better, therefore, to place the primary activity, marketing and sales, further ahead in the chain. Many companies will only start production when the goods have been sold in advance. Based on this knowledge, the model's linear structure seems very rigid. The model has a built-in tendency to place the company in a defensive position at the expense of the company's creativity and readiness for change. They are always looking for small improvements in relation to the existing product, a form of incremental innovation. The model does not include the option to switch to something else. It is very static. The good thing about the model is that it continuously forces you to look for improvements that provide greater value to your customer.
I think you got the complete understand about the value chain, right? Always focus on the these multiple areas. Finally, all of them are contributing to the unit price. Right? Then you have to maintain the margin as you require, as it is a business. Any question? Okay, no? Okay.
Sir.
So with that understand, we will continue with the value chain related particular slides. So it says entrepreneurs look at the value chain of the product or service to pinpoint where the value chain can be made more effective. That means identify. This is the aspect that our value chain more effective, or spot where additional value can be added. So once we looked into this, we can say in that aspect, maybe service aspect, we can add more value. Or outbound logistic aspect, we can have more value. For example, Pereira and Sons, they are manufacturing and they have the distribution channel and they have the shops as well. Then they have added the value here. Something like that, right? So not going to address all the aspects, maybe one or two that particular business is strong with. The particular business is strong with maybe one or two primary activities. Focus on that and get the support from the other activities, supportive activities to strength accordingly. So finding out your particular strong point or pinpoint is important. So to analyze that, this type of analysis may focus on, that means to find out the strength you have, unique strength you have, single primary activities such as marketing and sales. That means with the marketing and sales, you can strength. Yeah, you can strength. That means a huge marketing campaign through the professional marketers. You identify that might be the pinpoint. That might be the key things that we have to deliver, right? To add the value for the business. Then second thing is the interface between one stage of the value chain to another. So in the value chain, there are different aspects. In between them, what are the possibilities, such as interface between the operations and outgoing logistics. So in between this, when eggs, sugars, whatever the ingredients are provided for cake manufacturing, what are the things that we can add the value? Actually, simple layman terms, I introduced that one. That mean buying eggs from the nearby shop and talk to a couple of customers through the procurement procedure and make an agreement to supply the eggs regular basis. Two approaches. So with the second approach, there is a value addition. Better price can be achieved through that, right? Such as we can find different initiatives to add values for the business. Finally, one of the support activities such as human resource management. Even this one, we can add the value, because if we can hire the staff for relatively low price, the qualification might be same. But when we interview university graduates, I also got selected to Zone 24x7 as my very first job. at that time we had the job fair in the Peradeniya University Engineering faculty. Companies visited. So I also attended the SLT, a couple of interviews, SLT and Zone 24, X7, those two interviews. And I was trained at the Code Gen, so I visited the Code Gen also, but finally I selected Zone 24 X7 because I got the better offer, right? Sometime, I don't know, sometime they may offer different salaries for different individuals, or they may negotiation process, they may come up with the prices. Finally, I might be the person who accept the cheapest offer. It is better for me, but company side, it might be the cheapest. So he accepted me. That might be the one reason. I don't know. I just want to explain you the situation, because if the same crowd, your University of Peradeniya engineering faculty, computer engineering fresh graduates are facing to the interview. More or less, they have similar capacity, similar capabilities. So in that case, they can perform in the same way. That is the common understand. Then they try with the different persons, come up with in the job. Usually they ask what is your expected salary, right? So they note down that by considering their expenditures, they may give me the offer. Might be I'm the cheapest one that they found. Don't know. In that way, they can reduce the cost for the manufacturer. Right? Human resource is important in the software development related businesses. Knowledge and commitment perspective. They always search for the young graduate. Actually, yesterday also I got a call from your seniors. They were not called for any interview. One reason might be they are too old now when they try to join with the industry without having better exposure, especially girls. So they know that what will be happen for the girls next. So they might not be willing to recruit them with their age. So it is usual, but challenging. Everything is challenging. Somehow you got this opportunity to be graduate. So be thankful for that and continue with your passion, your own passion. Enjoy whatever the way you are continuing. I'm also such, no, I'm also doing different things. I enjoy myself. That is the way you should practice, right? So education is lifelong thing. So don't worry if you didn't get the proper job at this stage. Just continue. You can find better thing later. So actually my point is I'm just more than happy with my present position, but I just think that I have not stopped studying. I just usually enroll with one of the official program since 2014 as a fun. Try to follow me, right? I can guide if you interest. Anyway, one of the, yeah, we talk about all three aspects. Those are examples only, right? You can look into the different aspects in the value chain, how you add value to the product. Adding value means reducing the cost. Adding value means reducing the cost or increasing the customer domain or adding the quality for the product. Adding value means many aspects, not only in the monetary terms. Not only in the monetary terms, providing the 24x7 service, value addition. There is a cost, but your customer domain will be enhanced. Right. This is also one important Osterwalder's 9-block model. So for that also, I supposed to introduce you the video by looking at the Uber. Whatever the 9 components are illustrated like this. So actually, firstly, we looked into the value propositions. Value propositions. So reliable transport, convenience, additional income. Those are their value proposition. That means Uber, they don't have actually product, right? They don't have product. they have service. They have only the platform. Uber have only the platform. They maintain the platform. They offer different services. Uber Eats is there, Uber Taxi is there. So not sure what are the other options, but they are in the online platform and serving for the customers. Then customer segment, people in needs of the transportation. It is the Uber Taxi. Car owners, maybe driver aspect. Right? We will look into this in detail after watching that video, because video explained the things thoroughly about all 9 aspects.
Just all the parts. And what we now know is the most efficient way to think about all the pieces, just all the parts, is by a business model. And so the next question is, okay, Steve, you just told me to think about a business model, but what is a business model? What are all the pieces? Well, let's take a look. And a business model is how a company creates value for itself while delivering products or services for its customers. Now, if you think about it, in the old days, we'd think about how to organize a company around functional organizations. We think, no, a company is about its sales department or its engineering department, and you would draw an org chart. But now we're going to draw a very different diagram. We're going to draw a diagram of how to think about all the pieces of a business. And so let's take a look at these 9 boxes. 9 boxes to describe any company from the world's largest to a 2-person startup starting in your parents' garage. Let's take a look at the first piece called the value proposition. The value proposition answers the question, what are you building and for who? The value proposition says, hey, it's not about your idea or product, it's about solving a problem or a need for a customer. That is, what pain are you solving? What gain are you creating? And more importantly, who are your customers? Now, value proposition is a fancy word for what product or service are you building. This is where you normally would list all your features and here's all the speeds and feeds and benefits and whatever, but we're really going to be asking a different question than might have been used to. It's not all about your technology. Your technology is just part.
Before getting to that, I want to just discuss about the value proposition. So it says, it is not about your idea or product, right? Always you have to focus about the need or problem of the customer. So if it is a need, cater that. If there is a problem, solve that. So it is about the satisfying your customer needs, some aspect. Then have better understand about the customers, right? So value propositions, focus in the customers.
Technology is just part of the value proposition. Customers really don't care about your technology. The customers are trying to solve a problem or fulfill a need.
Yeah, whatever the technology you can adapt into your business, but use of technology is not matter for the customer. Customer is always focusing whether their need is addressed or problem is solved. So usually once you use the technology, adapt the technology, customer should get some form of the benefit. So you are adapting the technology as a part of the value propositions, adding value for the customer, right? Specific technology is not a matter. Affordability for the technology, or whether you are hiring the technology, buying the technology, what are the technologies used, those are not matter. Finally, customer is looking whether their need is addressed, problem is solved.
By the way, we'll be talking about this through multiple lectures. The difference between a problem and a need is, a problem is, I have an accounting problem, or I want to use a word processor. And those types of products solve problems. But there are other things that human beings do, like I want to be entertained, or I want to have a date. Those are some basic hardwired social needs. Or I want to communicate with my friends, like Facebook or Twitter. Those are needs. Needs are different than problems. And by the way, if you could find products that solve needs, your total available market, as you'll see later, is huge compared to I solve specific problems. So the next thing is, who are my customers? Who are they and why would they buy? And as you'll hear a number of times, your customers do not exist to buy, you exist for them. And what you're going to do by getting out of the building is figuring out all their geographic, social characteristics, demographics, such that you actually could draw and put up a picture on your wall of who the archetype is or who the persona is of your customer. And it turns out that in most startups, you might have more than one or two or three types of customer archetypes and personas, but you need to understand them in detail. And there is no possible way you could have anything but a hypothesis on day one of who they are.
Did you get the point with the customer? Your customer don't exist to buy, you exist for them. That means you are going and selling. Customer is not, there are era, there is a situation. Or in the market, once you are established there properly, then sometimes people are just going and buying something. For example, when we have the fresh milk, Kotmale or something, specific product is searching. If it is not there, we are just going for another, only for kids, right? We are just giving fresh milk for the kids, so particular product only. So some products are in that rich market level, but usually that is not the case, right? As far as your product is available, right? That means usually if you are using maybe Lifebuoy, but next day Lifebuoy is not available, some other product is there. So you are moving with that. So as a Lifebuoy manufacturer, Unilever, they has the fault by not having the same product at every store, that product in the every store. Then as a result, the consumer is moving with some other product. Then like that, you have to understand the customer segment. You have to make sure the customer is fulfilling that requirement accordingly. Just give me a second, right?
Of who they are.
Right. So what we were discussing about the customer segments. So you should have better understand about the customer. Who are they? Why would they buy? That means there are some, you may have heard called what are the two terms? Wants and needs. Wants and needs. Needs are the essential item that we should buy. If your business is based on the needs, it's okay. It is perfectly all right. Go ahead with that. If your thing is based on the wants, then customer is having the choice whether buying that or not. Something like that. Right? That means based on the wants, they have the choice whether offer for that or not, depending on the situation. So be careful when you introduce the product or that particular product or service into the business. What is the nature of the customer? Right? And here it says about the age, mayor, city, geographical thing, single income, whatever things. All the aspects are need to be considered for addressing the requirement.
You could have anything but a hypothesis on day one of who they are.
Let's move with the channels.
The next is channels. How does your product over here get to your customers over here? And we use distribution channels to do that. Now, what's really interesting is pre-1990s, the only channels to get to a customer was a physical channel. That is, you went to a store, you had salespeople, there was physical distribution. But since the mid-1990s, in the last couple of decades, we now have virtual channels, the web, mobile, cloud. And so distribution channels, the first question you want to ask is, how will I be selling and how will I be distributing my products? Are they through physical channels, or are they web mobile? Or given today, almost every physical channel also has a web presence. What is the relationship of how your product gets from your company to the customers?
Hope you got that idea, right? I'm not going to discuss. So focus more and more to understand then and there. Customer
relationships. It's kind of the fourth piece. And customer relationships has a really interesting interaction with these other three pieces. It basically says, how do I get customers? How do I keep them? And how do I grow them?
That is important, right? I always mention, how do you get the customers? Having the customer for your business is important, but keeping might not be that much easy. Keeping your, depending on your the product or service quality, they may in touch with you, otherwise they may move with the others. Then growing the customer domain, it is also further challenging. So all three aspects are important with respect to the customer relationship.
And just like thinking about distribution channels, these are very different for web mobile than they are for physical channels. But visually, they kind of look like this double-sided funnel. So let's just take a look at quickly a web example. In getting customers, you're going to be worrying about how do I acquire them? That is, how do I get them even to my website? How do I activate them? That is, how do I make them do something? And then later on, we'll see after I got them, how do I keep them around? That is, how do I not lose them through attrition and churn? And then what can I do once I have customers to make them spend more money or use my product even more? And so one of the things we'll be thinking about is, how do I get, keep, and grow customers? And just like every other step, you might have hypotheses on day one, but you're only going to figure this out when you're out of the building. The next thing is revenue streams. How do you actually make money from your product and service being sold to customer segments? You know, revenue streams basically ask the question, what value is the customer paying for? And it actually has you think about, what's the strategy of how I'm going to capture that value? Is it I'm going to just have a direct sale and it's a transaction based on price? Is it a freemium model where I'm going to give away the product for free and hope that some portion convert later? Is it a license or subscription model? That revenue model is different than the pricing tactics. That is, what is the dollar or pound amount or euro amount that I'm going to be charging? Again, the only way to figure this out is being able to interact with tens or hundreds or thousands of customers till you finally understand what the right revenue stream and revenue model is.
So did you understand that part? Always you should have understand how you are going to make money from each customer segment. That means you may have multiple customer segments, right? So revenue models, direct sales. That means based on that model, we focus about our sales. So let's move forward. Resources.
Next piece you want to think about is, what are the key resources? What do you need to make the business model work? What assets are important? And what's an example of an asset in a key resource? Well, finance. Do you need capital? Do you need a line of credit? Some assets and resources are physical. Do you need physical plant, like a manufacturing line? Do you need specialized machines? Do you need vans and for delivery? Do you need cars? Is there something else you need? Is there intellectual property you need? Is there patents you need to acquire or protect? Do you need to acquire customer lists? Or is it just that you need to get great people, great software programmers in a specific area, or great hardware designers, or great manufacturing people? And then finally, again,
What do you think? What are the resources you want? You need money. For that, you go for the bank, raise the money, line of credit. That means, however, whatever the approach, maybe even people are starting business by using the credit card. Do you accept such initiatives? Credit card, they withdraw some money and do something, or they make the money for interest, high interest. Do you accept such initiatives? Guys, speak up.
Sometime maybe.
Yeah, but always we should focus about the financial cost. Financial cost is the sources, financial sources. For the financial sources, we have to pay some interest. Those interest are referred to as the financial cost. අපි ලක්ෂයක් ගත්තොත් ලක්ෂයට interest එකක් තියෙනවා. So depending on the situation, it is very true, but never ever encouraged to go for the higher interest rates. So always start the business very small scale. So it doesn't matter. Little by little you can go in the ladder, but as far as you get into the you are going to source your business or fund your business through the high financial cost related sources, it is very difficult to sustain in the business domain because extra commitment for the paying interest. I know the situation. Actually, some cases people are starting the business small manner and continue with the banks, but once they start with some point, they go for such high interest rates. There are situations that we need to go with them, but never encourage. For that, you better maintain the good relationship with the bank little by little. I know that banks will not follow you and give the money always as a startup businesses, but find the financial sources from your relatives, parents, brothers, sisters. Then no need to pay the interest as well. No? So there are some alternatives, right? Always think before you gain money for high interest. Even paying for bank interest for them is also much better, right? So be careful when you pick with the different financial sources. Be careful. Then what are the physical resources with related to this explained here? Purchasing a vehicle for logistic purpose. That might be the long-term goal because you may go for bank loan and purchase a vehicle. However, if you can hire the logistic service or pay the logistic service and do the service, sometime there may be much more gain rather than maintaining the vehicle inside. There are alternatives. So always just coming up with the prior conclusion, you better list down the alternatives you have, right? Then come up with the best thing, right? So it is applicable for anything, right? Anything mean even when you find the life partner also, just once you have multiple options, just list down and pick one. Okay with this one? Don't take early decisions. Aloka? Guys, මම නම් මතක තියෙන කට්ටිය ඔය කියන්නේ ඔක්කොටම applicable ඒ rule. Then intellectuals in the software industry, we should hire the good people. At the same time, we should have some sort of a compromise or think about their package as well. Then, sorry, it is intellectuals is about the patents and people also. No? Then experts. Those are also resources. Software engineers, scientists, those are also resources. These are actually human machines, right? Like a physical ovens are there in the cake industry, in the software industry, human machine. Software engineer is a human machine. That I would say it is a machine because there is no time to eat, no time to have fun when we have work until even midnight. I worked for the software industry little more than 2.5 years. So I had that experience. It is good, you can learn more, but in long-term aspects, I felt that it is not suit for me. Okay, let's move with that. I think you got the key resources, right? Just understand these things, right? There is a group activity for you to do mapping these things in your one of your domain, domain in the sense business plan related domain. Okay, any question? Otherwise, let's move forward.
The interaction between intellectual and human capital that's another key resource. What specifically do you need to do to keep these people, and who are they?
Partners.
The next piece is, who are your key partners and suppliers? And partnerships are kind of interesting, is we need to ask ourselves, before what's the deal, is what exactly are we acquiring from partners? And also, what activities are they going to perform and when? And this is where startups sometimes make a mistake of thinking, well, large companies do partnerships, I guess I need those too on day one. Turns out the types of partnerships you need in year one are certainly not the ones you're going to need in year 3 or 5 or 10. And the types of partnerships could be strategic alliances, joint ventures, just regular suppliers and buyers. And so you need to be thinking through who they are and actually getting out of the building and testing them.
Did you get the point? When you start a business, you may start the business with someone else. Then partnership is coming into picture. If you are doing a business alone, again, once you just launch the business, you may have the suppliers, buyers. Those are also partner. So in case if you are starting the business with someone else, then joint businesses, strategic alliance between the non-competitors. So strategic alliance between the non-competitors, that part. Then joint venture. What is the different in between the this part? That means strategic alliance. That means joining two businesses together, joining two parties together and launch a business. And joint venture. There is a unique difference with those two. Venture capitalist, have you seen? Have you heard? Venture capital, yeah. Venture capitalists and strategic alliances.
Sorry.
Yeah. With this one?
Yes, sir. We heard about that previous lecture series.
Sorry?
Yes, sir. We heard about that venture capitalize, and we do some Excel calculation with venture capitalize.
Okay. Good. Okay. We do those, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Then you have the idea, no? Then tell me.
Venture capitalize.
Are they having a short-term goal or long-term goal to with you with the business? This one is the strategic alliance, mean they have the long-term goal. Venture capitalist actual predefined time period is there. I will fund for your business, your initiative. I think that this is very much innovative business. So I think that that mean actually there are two parties. That mean, let's say I'm taking same person. I will take one. I would say Malaka. Malaka has the new business idea, but he does not have money. I have some money. Then I come up with agreement with Malaka. Okay, Malaka, I can understand your business has significant potential to grow. So I will fund for your business. So business partnership or business ownership is shared in this way. Maybe his idea, my money, I may ask for 30%, maybe 50%, maybe 70%. Depends on the agreement in between us. Other than that, both of us has the agreement. By this time, I want to exit from the business. The one who spend for the business want to exit from the one particular point in the time. That is the idea. Then once they sell the business, by that time, that particular percentage will be shared with the two stakeholders or multiple stakeholders as pre-agreed. So the implementation can be different, but co-understand is like that. But strategic alliance means that they have long-term goal, long-term partnership to launch the business, right? Move forward. If you have, I think you have not covered this part, right? 9 canvas thing. It is in the business plan. Those are also asked to emphasize these points and the group activity because you are going to incorporate it in the business plan. 8 activities.
Next are key activities. What's the most important things you need to do for the business to make the business model work? Are you in the production business? Are you making something? Or are you in the problem-solving business, like you're doing consulting or engineering? Or are you managing supply chains? What are the key activities you need to become expert at? And then finally, all this adds up on the left-hand side over here to costs. What are the costs and expenses to operate the business model? One of the interesting things about cost is it's not just the obvious ones like people or buildings or materials. What you're really going to be asking are what are the entire costs to operate our business model? And so you want to think about what are the most important costs you need to worry about? What are the most expensive resources you're going to need to pay for? And what key activities are the most expensive? And then you want to ask the typical accounting things. What are fixed costs? What are variable costs? Are there economies of scale? And you want to start.
Did you get the point? Cost structure? Because I think if you done the calculation, you may consider about the different financial sources with the different financial cost. Then you come up with the total understand about the financial cost. Some are fixed cost, some are variable cost, those things. Did you address? Can someone say what is the economics of scale? Economies of scale. Very common term, very common, very, very common in this sector. What is that? Economies of scale. Yep. Okay, if you manufacture something or service something or product or service, if you are doing customized product, customized service, we cannot do that in the large scale. Customize එක කියන්නේ කොණ්ඩේ කපන එක එක එක්කෙනාට වෙන වෙන විදිහට කපනවා නම් ඒක කරන්න බෑ. ඔක්කොටම ආමි කට් එක ගන්නවා නම් economies of scale, something like that. Then if you are doing the manufacturing 1 kilo cake, you can manufacture thousands of 1 kilo cake. But if you are making the birthday cakes, can you do that? No, you can't do that because it is based on the customer specific requirement. So when you have the large scale of productions, eventually your cost will be reduced. Cost will be reduced for the manufacturing. That means you need cost. Eka item ekata cost එක අඩුයි. දැන් අපි අර කේක් 4ක් 5ක් දාලා නිකන් ගෙදර විකුණනවා වගේ නෙමෙයි. ගෙදර පොඩි කඩේක විකුණනවා වගේ නෙමෙයි. අපි කේක් දවසට 100 හදන්න පටන් ගත්තාම කිලෝ එක 100ට දුන්න කලින් right? දැන් කිලෝ එක දෙන්න පුළුවන් 95ට. 90ට. දැන් software industry එකේ ගත්තොත් එහෙනම් එකම solution එක software industry එකේ දැන් cake වගේ නෙමෙයිනේ consumable නෙමෙයිනේ. සමහර වෙලාවට අපේ service available නැහැ. micro services කියලා අහලා තියෙනවද? Microservice and microservice architecture and monolithic architecture, there are two different way to develop this software solution. If it is the monolithic mean entire solution is as a service. If microservice mean entire solution is like a building blocks. Different things are achieved through the different services, but all are working together. So if there is such thing, microservices approaches, sometimes the service for login, service for payment, or service for some other unique thing or common thing, I would say common thing. If it is unique, that thing should be addressed separately. Whatever the common thing, we can achieve better. We can offer best price for the customer because we no need to repeat those microservices again. So we give part of the advantage to the customer, keep the part of the advantage with us. It is also representation of the economies of scale because we are producing the same thing again and again. So we can have some benefit through that. We can share the part of the benefit with the customer, part of with us. So always evaluate the cost budget. Even once you get your first salary, can be very small, relatively small, but have Excel sheet and write down how you are spending. Then have some savings. Then after some time, you can have funding for the business. Actually, I made a trick. I will just share it with you. That means I wanted to have a significant bank loan. Then what I did, from my one of the account, I deposit money for my salary is going to one account. I deposit some money in the sense 100,000 per month. Each month I deposit into my current account. That means I get the salary. After some time I transfer to the some other account. From that account I transfer back to my current account as another second income. Right? That means my salary is there. In addition to that, another 100,000 income is there. The purpose is to maintain the good relationship with the bank, because bank realized that this bugger has multiple income. Then finally I got a better loan offer once I did it over the years with the strategy. That means from the time I realized that is value addition, before I spend my salary, I withdraw it and keep it in the same bank, same saving account, same bank, another account, saving account, current account to the saving account, keep it there. Maybe second day, I transfer 100,000 to the current account. Then my transactions are recorded. So when you are doing the businesses, also do the something like that. That means although it is not actual transactions, keep the good relationship with the bank by depositing money and withdrawing. Whatever the money at the end of the day, deposit it into the ATM deposit machine. In the morning, just withdraw. It doesn't matter. Your transactions are in progress, right? So maintain the transaction and always communicate or deal with the banks, right? Even though I'm in the crib because I think I signed for one of my colleagues. So she passed away. Now I'm in the crib. That matter is also not solved yet. But because of my records and dignity as an engineer, all positively influenced for me to get that relatively high loan. So you also, I just share that one information not to describe about, not to boast myself, but you to get some understand how we actually going through the available rules and regulations. අපිට මෙහෙම income පෙන්වන්න තියෙන දැන් bank loan එකක් ගත්තාම you have to show your history of the accounts. So if you start register the business, just go and open a current account at the very beginning. Then there is no proper business now, but you can just deposit 10,000. Next, from next salary maybe another 5,000. But meantime now account is 15,000, 20,000, something like that. It will be improved eventually. Then withdraw 50,000 maybe per day. Then deposit it in after 2-3 days. Your money, your own money, but you just move it to over the current account, not the saving account, right? Then eventually they just realize that this bugger is doing some business. Transactions are moving here and there. So it will add value for you eventually. Just keep it in mind for actual start of your businesses, right? So don't go for short-term loans with high interest. It is never acceptable, right? Moving forward,
Start getting a good handle on what it is that will end up costing you money to run your business.
yeah, that's it. That's it. Finish. All 9 aspects we discussed. I think we have those links are there in the slides as well. Slides, I have already copied those links, so you can watch them. I will share the slides today. So with that understand, just think about Uber. First, value propositions: reliable transport, convenience, that means application is accessible through the mobile devices, additional income. This is not the primary income for individual. This is the part-time income for the individual. I know that even one of the reputed government employee, once he finished with the job, he has the wagon now, he is driving, he is working for the Uber. Part-time, right? It is much better. It is actually, they can enjoy themselves once have enough commitment. So that is the value proposition. So engagement of the individuals is better now because it is additional income, right? Additional income for the business. Then customer segment, people in need for transportation. That is one customer, that means actual customer. Their customer is driver also, car owners also. So those contribute for the Uber to run their business in a smooth manner, right? Then channels. So how they communicate with the both travelers and drivers? Through the app, right? There is no any other way of communication. They don't have office in Sri Lanka. I don't know, as per my understand. Not even customer service office. We can't call them. Picme we can call, but other everything automated, computerized. Admin office එකක් තියෙන ඇති මේ app දාලා train කරවන්න වගේ, but customer service එකක් I'm not sure. That thing happened through the app, I guess. I don't know. Exact understand is not with me. Then customer relationship, always the rating is requested about the driver's service. Those are evaluated, right? Some drivers are blacklisted even. Customers also dropped. Technically, I don't know whether they have done, but when we cancel that Uber, they recorded it. They record it and do something accordingly for identifying bad customers, like bad traveler and bad drivers, and drop them from the service. Key resources, technical platform, network of drivers, brand name is utterly important. Uber කිව්ව ගමන් හැමෝම දන්නවනේ. Then key partner, payment processors and API providers. application programmable interface providers and payment processors. So there you can understand that mean whatever your payment Uber වල කොහමද වෙන්නේ අපි ගෙවනවනේ අපි සල්ලි අතට දෙනවනේ Pickme එකේ we are paying Uber එකේ අතට දෙන Uber වලට සල්ලි යන්නේ කොහොමද I never thought about that අපි දෙනවා Uber එකට සල්ලි යන්නේ එතකොට driver ගෙවන්න ඕනේද register වෙද්දි ඌ ගානක් දීලා ඇති නේද ඒක මේව කර කර වෙන්න තියන්නේ මොකක් හරි not sure how the business model actually happen අපි සල්ලි දීලා බහින හැබැයි සමහර ඒවා තියෙන credit card තියදී drivers ලා කැමතිත් නෑ drivers ලා now they are asking credit card ද cash ද කියලා credit card නම් බෑ කියනවා cash නම් සමහර වෙලාවට sir මේ cancel කරලා යන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා අහනවා they have find multiple way to skip that anyway it is okay because through as far as we can help them because they have to pay the commission for the Uber and Pickme that's why they are asking I just okay it's all right and cancel the trip and go with them not these days my talking about January this year after that services are not happening over the phone නේද app එක through නේද තියෙන්නේ have you used the support services oh ඒක තමයි then their cost structure tech platform marketing and personal how to maintain these in different manner revenue stream percentage for ride ගියපුවාම රයිඩ් එකක් ගියපුවාම පොඩි ගාණක් කමිෂන් එකක් තමයි ඩ්‍රයිවර් ගෙන් ගන්නෙ ඒක ගන්න විදිය නම් not sure but they are taking that might be advance deposit from the driver then depending on the service they have to pay or something like that never thought about that so now you got the complete understand about the 9 canvas model then importance of the business models value proposition or value chain and 9 canvas those are the two that we discussed today serves as an ongoing extension of the feasibility analysis actually once we looked into these elements right these elements this is about the Uber related business type now then when Pickme get into the thing even Pickme can find the Uber related business model and think about that further no need to start from the beginning then this kind of diagrams are available in different industries even you can find those diagrams and think further or if you want to be really innovative with your own idea just note down the 9 9 stuff in the MTX cells and think about your business and go with that right so always you should have reference point world recognized models you should be able to adapt right serves as ongoing extension to feasibility studies a business model continually asks the question does this make sense that means once you have the business model then every time you ask the question from the business model this is makes sense API providers are meaningful we want to extend it something like that because now business is complete business is divided into smaller parts smaller 9 parts even 9 parts are divided into multiple other segments so when you looked into you just may talk about support service right likewise it is very much feasible to argue about the business progress focuses attention on how all elements of a business fit together and constitute a working whole focus attention on how all elements of business fit together and continue the working whole. So all these 9 things should be fit together, or value chain elements should be fit together. Describe why the network of participants needed to make a business idea viable are willing to work together. Describe why the network of participants needed to make business ideas viable and willing to work together. Yeah, with the business model, whatever the business model describe, why the network of participants need to make business idea viable. That means different thoughts and understandings are incorporated with the business model. That's the indirect meaning of that statement. So they are just want to work together eventually with some mutual understanding. So finally, articulates a company's core logic to all stakeholders, including all employees. Not only that, even shareholders. Stakeholders may be suppliers, customers. Stakeholders and shareholders are two different, right? So shareholder are the actual owner of the businesses in those which are in the share market maybe. The other type, private limited companies, also we declare the shareholders, but they are the one who actually spending for the business. Stakeholders are those who are suppliers and logistic partners, different, all the parties, those who are involving in the business. So we can share our mutual understand about the business via the document. Document is the business model. It is very useful for a new venture to look at itself in the holistic manner, overall picture of the business, and understand that it must construct an effective business model to be successful. Eventually, they are focusing about delivering the effective business model. Everyone that does business with a firm, from its customer to its partner, does so on voluntary basis. Everyone that does the business with a firm, from its customer to its partner, does so on voluntary basis. As a result, firm must motivate its customer and its partners to play along. Everyone that does business with a firm okay, that means business relationship with the customer and partner. Business relationship එකක් තියෙනවා business එකයි customer අතර, business relationship එකක් තියෙනවා business එකයි partner අතර. ඒ කියන්නේ supplier වෙන්නත් පුළුවන් partner එක. ඒක එයාලගේ කැමැත්තෙන් වෙනවා මිසක් අකමැත්තෙන් කරන්න බෑ කියන එක කියන්නේ voluntary basis. අපිට ගිහිල්ලා මේ අපේ product එක ගන්න කියලා බල කරන්න බෑ. Everyone that does the business with a firm does so on a voluntary basis, right? Things after the comma, from its customer, its partner, it means the relationship with the firm. That one is voluntary. We can't force anyone, and even suppliers, we cannot force supplier to be with us. As a result, firm must motivate its customers and its partners to play along, right? Then they are not going to bound with the customers, bound with the partners, having agreement with the customer, having agreement with the partner. They are not going to do that, right? Close attention to each of the primary elements of a firm's business model is essential for new venture success. Close attention to each of the primary elements of firm's business model is essential for new venture success. Right? Business model के primary element ටික හරි බලන්න ඕන. That is the idea. So now what you are going to do, you are going to introduce the business model for your business. Can you do it as a homework and we will move forward? What do you think? Or you want to do it now?
Okay, sir. Homework.
Okay, because we have to cover a little bit more. So LMS LMS එක දැන් හදලා තියෙන්නේ අපේනේ. I will put a link in the LMS, right? I will put a link in the LMS. I will upload all the lecture notes also to the LMS. Then your business model, maybe activity එකක් කරමුද විදුසුන් නැත්තම් මුන් දාන්නේ නේද? ආලෝක තරින්ද මල්ෂා කරමුනේ group හරියන්නේ මේක ඒක individual activity අර business plan එකට දාන්න ඕනේ කොහොමද උදුර්ස activity එක දීලානේ තියෙන්නේ මේක ඊට අමතරව නිකන් activity එක business plan එක business එක ගැන කියලා විස්තරේ පොඩි paragraph එකක් ලියලා ඊට අදාළ model එක අඳින්න ඕනේ. ඒක අන්තිමට රූපෙට දාන්නත් පුළුවන්. අපි පන්තියේදී discuss කරලා improve කරමු පොඩ්ඩක්. ඔක්කොම discuss කරන්නේ දෙක තුනක් discuss කරමු. Right. එහෙනම් මම link එකක් දාන්නම් ළමයි ගෙදරින් කරන්න. We will move forward, otherwise yeah, it is the better way, I would say. Then business growth. Business growth, few aspects. Reasons for growth, economic of scale, economic of scope, market leadership, influencing power, and survivability. Accommodate the growth of key customers, attract and retain talented employees. Those are the reasons for growth of the business as it identified. So I already discussed about the economic of scales. What is that then? Instead of providing or manufacturing 2-3 products, we manufacturing hundreds of products at the same time. With that one, we can achieve the economies of scale. Scale එක වැඩි කරලා තියෙන economic benefit එක ගන්න පුළුවන්. When increasing the production lowers whatever. Occur when increasing production, some other word maybe, the average cost of each unit produced. Lower the average cost. Okay. Occur when increasing the production, comma, lower the average cost of the each unit produce. හරිනේ මම අර කිව්වේ කේක් පහක් හදන වෙලාවට 100 ගානේ දීලා 500ක් ගත්තට කේක් 100ක් හදන වෙලාවට 95 ගානේ දීලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට එන ප්‍රොෆිට් එක අරකට වැඩිය වැඩි. right? ලොකු ගානකට කීපයක් විකුණුවට වැඩිය සාධාරණ ගානකට ගොඩක් විකුණ ගන්න කියන්නේ. ඒක තමයි economic of scale. Economics of scope occur when the scope or range of the firm's operations create efficiency. Occurs when the scope of firm's operations create efficiency. That means කේක් කිලෝ එක විතරයි හැදුවේ. දැන් අර බර්ත්ඩේ කේක් උත් දාගන්න නැත්නම් කේක් කිලෝ දෙකේ 500 එක නම් හරියන්නේ වෙන ප්‍රොඩක්ට් රේන්ජ් එකක් ගමු අපි. butter cake හැදුවේ then chocolate cake උත් හදනවා ribbon cake උත් හදනවා something like that you change the extend the range of the products cake තිබ්බනම් හොඳයි නේද මේලා range එකක් ගන්න 3:20 right market leadership that means as far as we are little small we cannot actually represent the market අපිට market එක represent කරන්නවත් බෑ අපේ product එක දැන් actually very recently the Williams Junction you know that they are grinding mills also there right usually Williams Junction they have the good products recommended one so they move away from that and there is down they are in the hill street or somewhere but still their name is valid now they are manufacturing a small packet of that chili powder or something different things right but still they because of their market name market leadership right Williams because of that they have the place in the market so once you do the good service once you have the large range of the product deliver the service over the multiple ways then you already attract the business even though you have drawbacks you have stepped down for short period of time you can come back to the business effectively right occurs when the firms hold the number 1 or number 2 position in the industry or niche market in terms of the sales volume they are the leader in the market Williams in the grindings whatever that industry they are the leaders although step down little bit they have now in the market in the different form because they have that brand name there are multiple other products those are lead in the different markets they are expert on that particular product some product by the same business same company will not work in the that way right then influence power and survivability larger business usually have more influence power than smaller firms for example international businesses a sell gas එකෙන් පේනවනේ sell නෙමෙයි දැන් ඒක මොකද්ද වෙන නමක් නේද ලිට්‍රෝ නේ අපේ වයිෆ් තමයි දන්නේ so whatever the gas they dominate the market so they whatever that they are selling we have to accept and go forward right so that much influence right so there are individuals also who can influence but not specifically they also earn money that means one I call the example Warren Buffett he is a leading businessman Walmart Warren Buffett I cannot exactly remember the supply chain businesses I think Walmart they spend actually invest money in the different countries so one time actually they have invested in Sri Lanka also for reserves foreign reserves oh I don't know whatever the way they have put the money in the central bank as dollars that is the way I know but technical term I cannot remember exactly it is not a business no it is just a personal individual person and individual but one tipping point he demand on something then government didn't accept or something like that then he withdrew his money and went back something like that as a business or as an individual once someone is thorough they can even challenge the government so even shell case also or gas case particular brand I cannot exactly remember now they have changed even ministers are supporting they may get some honorariums based on that they talk for them. As far as they have influencing power, we can't stay without the gas for 2-3 days. I don't know, you guys can manage in the villages. In our case, in Colombo, it is difficult to do daily stuff without gas. So once you grow, you have that power. Even whatever the other gears, car gears, people or manufacturers are going and begging to put their product in those I would say supermarket chain, right? That's how we discuss about the influence. Then accommodate the growth of key customers. Sometimes firms are compelling to grow to accommodate the growth of key customers. So that means the key customers' requirement are addressed. As per that, we extend the business. For example, we have a shop here, maybe Ratmalana. People are coming and buying things from Panadur. Then they keep asking us to be there in the Panadur as well. Then we go and put a stall there in the Panadur as well upon the demand of the customer. That is also one aspect of the growth, focus in the key customers. Attract and retain the talented employees. It is very much huge problem. In the software industry, it is very common. Those who are actually very much competent, they move the one job to another within very short period of time. 6 months, 7 months, even staying at one place for an year, for a year, it is very rare for some cases, right? Because they are not satisfied or they get good or better offer, different reasons attached with that. So attract and retain talented employees. Some employees, especially girls, once they plugged into one place, they stay there forever. They are not going to change it. They want to familiar with the atmosphere, settle there and continue with that job. They just think that things, when I compare with the things I have, this is much better. I am comfortable with this and stay there. Am I correct, girls? But Colotica, they just want to have better remuneration, salary increment. If they didn't get the salary increment for this year, then you challenge to the firm and try to find another job. That is very common. I know some girls I met in Zone 24x7 in 2007 is still there. But means only few. They are in the top position now, directors, that level. Countable anyway, 4-5 countable people are there in the zone, because within this 13 years time, 14 years time, they have moved with their job. But girls are there. Girls are talented now. Anyway, girls are talented. I'm just discussing the scenario. Keeping the talented employees are a little bit challenging. Okay, those are the reasons for growth. Managing growth. It's important for business owner to know the stages of the growth along with the unique opportunities and challenges that each stage entails. So each stage of the business has some opportunities, some challenges as well. Right? So it is essential to make sure which stage you should be getting into the extension of the business. Right? Introductory, early growth, continuous growth, maturity, declining. That is the life cycle of the business. Even declining can be happen if you didn't address the evolvement of the world, need of the customer, right? It is possible to have. So make sure that you focus the need of the customers and cater the need of the customer and solve the problem of the customer. So introduction. Usually I'm allowing you to read, but today as the time limitation, just continue reading. But if you have any question, you better raise it, right? Right, introduction. Startup phase where a business determine what its core strength and capabilities are. That is the introduction phase. Startup phase where business determine what is its core strength and capabilities. අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් මොනවද කියලා හරියට අඳුර ගන්නකම් business එක startup කියන එකේ තමයි කියන්නේ growth එකක් නෑ අපි just අතපත ගාලා බලනවා මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ ඇත්තටම අපිට මොකද්ද capable. Sometimes you are getting in to do something but you are expert on some other thing. It is always possible because you exploit the opportunity based on the customer requirement. So you may initiate it with something which might be your expert area, but you slightly adapt that thing for the demanding area. The main challenges is to make sure initial product or service is right. Main challenge is to make sure initial product or service is right. In that sense, we may customize and change the product to cater the requirement. Change the product, right? Initial product slightly change in the right way to address the customer requirement. It's important to document what works and what doesn't work during this stage. හරියන දේවල් විතරක් නෙමෙයි වර්ධින දේවල් දෙකම ලියන්න ඕනේ. ඇයි ඒ? වර්ධින දේවල් තමයි ගොඩාක්ම important වෙන්නේ, right? Don't give up. Next time correct it and face similar issues, you can win easily. But better notice that you didn't work. I mean, you fail in some situation. Understand that situation and note down for future reference. I usually do that. Very specific cases. What was wrong with me in that particular situation, right? When you are in angry mode, I know that you guys are not angry, but I'm usually little bit hot-tempered. In that mode, you better not to write the emails. අර කියන්නේ ඔක අපේ A level chemistry පන්තියේදීත් කියලා දීලා තියෙනවා. පින්න පොළ සර් කියලා අහලත් ඇති chemistry සර් කෙනෙක් හිටියා. කියන්නේ ඉස්සර ලියුමෙන්නේ ගනුදෙනු කරේ හැම දෙයක්ම. ඉතින් මල පැනලා මොනවා හරි කරලා ලියුම යද්දි ඔක්කොම සෙටල් වෙලා ඉවරයි. දැන් වෙලා තියෙන ඒ දවස්වල කිව්වේ text message එක ගැන. දැන් ඉතින් technology has been evolved. Now many ways to do that. So do the things very conscious manner. When you make important decision, don't make those decisions when you are not in the right condition. So that is one thing that does not work during the particular stage. In this particular case, actually introductory phase and the startup phase, then what works and what doesn't work are the things we discuss. මොනවාද හරිය මොනවාද හරිය නැත්තේ. So I just tell about something that didn't work for me, which is not directly related, but you can understand something, get something out of that. Let's move with the second phase, early growth. Generally characterized by increasing scale and heightened complexity. Right? Early growth is generally characterized by increasing sales. Sales are increasing. Heightened complexity. The complexity is little high. Two important things must happen for business to be successful in this stage. Two important things. What are they? The founder must start working on the business rather than in the business. Can you understand what is the in the business and on the business scenario? Have you ever heard?
No, sir.
Yeah, that mean I cannot remember what is the right thing actually. That mean on or in is on the business. Business okay. I'm in the business. On the business and in the business. That means I will describe the two scenario. That means you are doing a business. You have separate account for the business. You have separate account for the business. You run the business separately. Business, you consider business as a separate legal entity. Asanka Patirana is a legal entity. Business is another legal entity. Like business is some other person. Like some other person. Right? Then you should understand that situation. You are one thing, one person, business is another person. Like that. Then business should have separate accounts. If you are actually register the business in the proprietary manner in the provincial council, under the provincial council, that thing is not there. But if you register the business private limited manner, technically it is right. Private limited business is one entity. You are another entity. But even you are register your business in the proprietary manner under the provincial council, although it is under your name, both business and yourself is a one entity, you can consider the business as a separate entity. Technically, business and yourself one entity. It depends on the way you register. If you register in the provincial council, it is not the separate legal entity, it is just a business registration. But if you register in the Samagam Medura as a private limited, it is a separate business entity and you are some other entity. If legal action is there for the business, you know you are not liable for that. Right? So I want to say, whatever the way, if you conduct the business, consider the business as a separate entity. Although legitimately it can be, forget about the legitimate consideration, legal consideration, you as a one entity, business as another entity. You have a one saving account, business as another saving account. You work for the business as an employee, then you get the salary. Right? Whatever the business transaction in the current account, you will get the monthly salary from the current account. That is the approach. එක තමයි වැර මට මතක නැති කියන්නේ on the business කියන්නේ ඕකටද කියන්නේ. On the business and in the business. Where other approach is you are doing a business, and daily you withdraw money from the business account. Daily you spend money for your expenses. Then in the meantime, if you sell your car, you invest to your business. Then next time you want to buy motorcycle or another car, then again grab the money from the business account. That means there is no any isolation in between the business and the you. Please do that separation from the beginning. Business handle separately. Have a separate account. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand what is happening with the business. Either profitable or losing, you cannot understand. You put money to the business and business is running. Finally, that can be considered as some charity work. Business is not growing. එලියෙන් හම්බ කරන එකත් පඩියෙන් හම්බ කරන එකත් හැමදාම ඒකට දදා ඉන්නේ. I usually do that. Actually, I tried many times with the businesses, but nothing was successful. So I gave up. Now I'm not going to do business until I finish my PhD. But for fun, without investing much money, I may continue something We'll see what I can do. But not large investment. Otherwise, I did the rent a car as well. It was also not successful. Anyway, on the business and in the business, two things. Identify the differences, but the particular term, I think, in the business is the second scenario. On the business mean business is running, you are on top of that. In the business mean you are within the business, something like that. On and in the different is the problem. Can anyone comment on that? Do you know that exactly what is on the business and in the business? Yeah, but you got the scenario, two scenario. One person is handling the business account separately for individual and business. Other scenario is having or using the business account as personal account, right? No way of no proper mechanism to cash inflow and cash outflow. Right? So continuous growth, it is the third phase. The need for the structure and formalization increases. Often the business will start developing related products and services. Now it is actually better. Now business has been improved. Now you can do something. Cash flow is okay. Banks are now following and giving the money. Banks are following and giving the money in some cases, right? One of my colleagues is doing the apartment business. Early days, he struggled to have funds. Now banks are following and giving the money, but this case I'm not sure. We had a discussion April. He said the banks are asking for funds, but he's not sure to get them because of the situation. In our case, we can't get the loans. But what is the difference in between us? They have transaction in the account, transaction in the current account. They have proper profiles. So we can create them, right? Create them and communicate with the banks in the positive way. Bank එකට යනවා නම් කාර් එකයි අතුර ඉනේ එල්ලගෙන පොඩ්ඩක් සන්ග්ලාස් දෙකක් දාගෙන එහෙම යන්න ඕන. දන්නේ නැත්නම් දැනගන්න. නිකන් යන්න එපා ටී-ෂර්ට් එක දාගෙන ලෝන් දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ලොන්ඩ්‍රියෙන් හරි ෂර්ට් එකක් අරගෙන ඇඳගෙන පිළිවෙලට යන්න ඕන. Those are the tricks, right? Okay. කාර් එකකින් එන්න ඕනේ කාගෙන් හරි යාළුවෙක්ගෙන් හරි කාර් එකේ අතුර අරගෙන ඉනේ බැඳගෙන යන්න. Then banks give the loans for sure, right? That is impression. True stories, right? True stories based on the experience. Actually, one of my colleagues shared that. I don't know whether he told that because that guy is not a good one anyway now. But he did a good business. He did the tower construction. He had the office in the WTC also. Many of us invest on him. Now he is actually bankrupt, short of scenario, because the careless engineer, one of my batchmates. Then we have spent some money, invest some money, no? Then he is not returning our money, but he is driving a car. Then his reasoning is that he said that even banks are not accepting them if they are not driving. So he hired the vehicle and used, not the simple one, luxury one. That is the way. Business world. However, they are now living better than us, but they have to give some money to us. Nothing to do with that. We will just silently continue our way now, not doing businesses. So don't start that joint businesses, right? I have very, very bad experience with him. Because as far as we don't know exact core of the business, we should not touch with that. And if you want to invest some money, may invest that, but don't expect that will be return. අර කියන්නේ පොඩි ගානක් දැම්මට කමන්නේ 50000ක් ලක්ෂයක් මම දන්නේ ඔයාලගේ ලෙවල් එක අනුව දාලා පොඩ්ඩක් බැලුවට කමන්නේ එකතු වෙලා බිස්නස් එකක් කරන්න. නමුත් more than that I will not be it will not be accepted. will not be accepted. I will not accept. Right? Because we don't know. Sometimes they just boasting without having true meaning, true understanding about the business. Be careful. There are theft like that. Official theft there. හොරකම් කරන්නෙම official. Right? Okay. One decision. What is this? That means like tough decision. Tough decisions take place in this stage. One tough decision is whether the owner of the business and the current management team has the experience and the ability to take the business further. Continuous growth එක වෙද්දී තව කොච්චරක් ඉස්සරහට කරන් යනවාද කියන tough decision එක. මේක තාපඩ mature level එකේ තියාගෙන ඉන්නවාද? maintain කරගෙන ඉන්නවාද? So continuous growth එක කොහොමද maintain වෙන්නේ? So that is the tough decision. At the maturity level, things are stabilized. Business enter the maturity stage when it growth stalls, that means no more growth. At this point, firms is typically more internally focused on the managing efficiently rather than developing new products. Internal process improvement, 5 years කියලා තියෙනවා, whatever the different S's are there. Improve the business internally, that means internal performance is focused to improve, then eventually profits can be achieved. Well-managed firm often look for the partnering opportunity or opportunities or opportunities for acquisition or license deal to breathe new life into the firm. Okay, once they get into that stage, now they have better reputation. They have some partnership with the other parties to grow their business. In new growth, some actually get into the share market. Hope you can remember, right? Dialog also went to the share market after some mature stage, right? If new growth cannot be achieved through the firm's existing product mix, whatever the range of the product it has, next generation of the product should be developed. So whatever the product and services available with the business is not adequate, in that case, you have to go with the much more range of product. Declining, it is not inevitable that business enter the declining stage. පටන් ගත්තා decline වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒක මගහරින්න බෑ. හැබැයි ඉතින් manage කරගත්තොත් it is not possible, but there are situations that declining is also can be happen. Many American business have long histories and have adapted and survived over time. Business ability to avoid decline hinges on strength of its leadership and its ability to adapt over time. Right? That means avoiding declining is the discussion there. Strength of leadership. Right? Once there is strong leadership, adapt the situation according to the time for addressing issues with related to the declining. Somehow it is possible to address, but always keep in mind, follow the figures to evaluate the growth of the business. Day-to-day challenges of the growing a firm. What are the challenges? Cash flow management, you can understand. Firm requires increased amount of cash as it grows. But අර අපි grow වෙවි cash flow එක හදා ගන්නවා මිසක් එළියෙන් අරගෙන business එකට දාලා වැඩක් නැහැ. සමහරව ඉන්නවා business පටන් ගන්නෙම බැංකු loan වලින්. කොහොමද කරන්නේ? තමන්ගේ තියෙන හිතන්නකෝ දැන් මොන හරි ඉතින් develop වෙලානේ business එකේ වාහනේට lease එකක් දානවා. ඒක capital එක විදියට පෙන්නලා තව business loan එකක් ගන්නවා බැංකුවෙන්. Those are the very strategic, because they are sure that they can pay the bank vehicle loan and the bank loan, business loan. So, but don't go for high interest loans. Like Sri Lanka also going to take loans from the black market. Black market කියන money laundering හර්ෂ කියන්නේ කතන්දරේ. මොනවද ඒකට කියන්නේ type එක. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මිනිස්සු ඔය drugs වෙන වෙන business වලින් ගන්න සල්ලි උන්ට කරගන්න දෙයක් නැතුව අතේ තියාගෙන ඉන්න. අතේ කියන්නේ කොහේ හරි තියාගෙන ඉන්න බැංක් කරන්නේ නැතුව. Then Sri Lanka is planned to get the loans from that. I don't know whether it is true story, but Harsha De Silva in the press conference he stated such thing because Sri Lanka is not managing our cash flow. I'm not blaming to the present government or previous government. It is a long-term misled, right? Actually, I feel that now things should be changed with the young generations. Even for the whatever the decision maker level, we should think in different way and attend the stuff, right? Don't just study and migrate. Do contribute for the country. Otherwise, those who migrate, they just blame for the country. This country is not good, that blah, blah, blah. But they have never contributed for the country. Some cases, some have, but some cases. Finally, I'm not sure. Still, people are planning. I have today also heard that one of our lecturer also planning to migrate. Not sure. Some are boasting. Not sure. Anyway, we'll see whether they are going. I don't have a plan. I just go for studies and come. I already meet my IELTS requirement. Hopefully next year or year after that, I may go for PhD and come, but not migrate. Anyway, price stability. If growth comes at the expense of a competitor's market share, price war could ensure. If growth comes at the expense of the competitor's market share. What it means. If growth comes at the expense of competitors' market share. I think it is about the considering the competitors' market price, no? Competitors' market share. If growth comes at the expense. That means whatever the market share with the competitor and our product. Not sure about that. Anyway, it is talking about the price stability. No? Price stability means always when we get into the market, our price should not be vary because we plan, as you understand about the value chain now, we fix the price based on our expenses. As far as our price is stable, we are survived in the market. We earn whatever the margins that we expect. But if we have to change our prices due to the competition in the market or attract the market share එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? market එක 100ක් නම් 100න් 20ක් නම් අපි contribute කරන අපේ product එක අපි 100ට 20 කියන product එක හැමතිස්සෙම තියාගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ population growth එකත් එක්ක market එකේ demand එක වැඩි වෙයි. ඒ අනුව අපිත් වැඩි කරගෙන 100ට 20 කියන එකේ අපි ඉන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි market share එක කියන්නේ. So our product 20%, competitor product 30%. So they have to maintain their market share accordingly to with the price stable price. Then only we can plan for the business in long run. Then quality control, capital constraints. I think you can understand. Not going into detail. These things are, there are few things more stressful than cash flow challenges. This entrepreneur is diligently manage his cash flow to make sure there is a money in bank to pay his vendors and meet his payroll. Entrepreneurs diligently manage his cash flow to make sure there is money in the bank to pay his vendors. Vendors ලට pay කරන්න තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Meet the payroll. වැඩ කරන කට්ටියට pay කරන්න තියෙන්න ඕනේ. So that is the idea. That is actually, yeah, that means only 4 factors. Cash flow management, price stability, quality control. You should assure the quality of the product. Capital constraints. Capital constraints are an ever-present problem for growing firms. මුදල් කොහෙන්ද? capital එක කොහෙන්ද? ඇත්තටම business run වෙන්නේ ඔය business කොච්චර ලොකුයි කියලා කිව්වත් එයාලා analysis කරනවා තමයි bank loans වලින් තමයි ගොඩක් business run වෙන්නේ. ඒක එයාලට පාඩු නෑ. මේ සල්ලි තියෙනවා. සල්ලි වියදම් කරන්නේ නෑ. bank loan එකම තමයි හුරු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. අපිත් එහෙමනේ. සමහර වෙලාවට credit card එක තමයි use කරන්නේ. ඒ හුරු වෙච්ච විදිය කියන්නේ උන්ට මොකක් හරි growth එකක් තියෙනවා. අපිට නම් ඇත්තටම මුදල් පාවිච්චි යන්නේ මන්ද I just feel if it is recorded somewhere with the credit card, it is much more convenient. We know that how we spend. At every month, once we get the salary, we pay the credit card. If you use the debit card, it is also can be happen, but due to some reasons, money are not sitting in the saving accounts. So banks are also, businesses are also based on the bank loans in most of the cases because they are benefits, they are low rates. Actually, some well-grown business also keep some records with the banks, maintain the bank accounts, not because of and take the loans, not because they need funds to maintain the good relationship with the banks. Bank එක ණය අරගන්නේ ඕනේ හින්දාම නෙමෙයි. Relationship එකක් තියාගන්න. මොකද crib එක ගිහිල්ලා බැලුවොත් එimhe මෙයා හොඳට bank loan අරගෙන ගෙවපු එක්කෙනෙක්. That record is there. So even though you also no need to have a loan, buy a small loan once you get the job and do something, do some investment and pay little by little. Then you will be having some saving and at the end of the day. And at the end of the maybe long run, you can find the importance of such initiatives. Okay, that's it. We did a lot today. Thank you, guys.